Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of ZB's Horsepower Talk. As always, I'm ZB, Zack Brown. A lot of racing action this past week. NASCAR triple header in Las Vegas. IndyCar gets kicked off with their season down in St. Pete. World of Outlaws has another run at Volusia. And Port Royal opens up their season. Let's see how it all shakes out. We're going to start off with the big news of the week with NASCAR. Chase Elliott fracturing his tibia in a snowboarding accident in Colorado. He will be out several weeks after he just had surgery on it. He starts physical therapy on it this week on his road to recovery. So good luck to him, and hopefully he recovers quickly. It is NASCAR's most popular driver, whether people like him or not. Most people seem to, obviously. That's a big hit that NASCAR is going to have to try to function without their most popular driver. Josh Berry's going to substitute for Chase until further notice. We're just going to kick off right now, talk about the triple header in Las Vegas with NASCAR. Then we'll go through all the other different series that kicked off this weekend, and a lot of racing action happened there. Truck Series, Xfinity, and the Cup Series raced at Las Vegas this weekend. Obviously, Kyle Busch, hometown favorite there, trying to get a weekend sweep. Starts it off right, winning the truck race as to nobody's surprise. I actually called that one. This is the only time I actually had my pick right. Truck race, just caution after caution, so many dang wrecks. It was actually difficult to watch in the beginning. They finally were able to get some green flag runs going, and towards the end, it was close for a while, but in the end of the race, Kyle just started driving away and took the checkered flag in that one. Xfinity race was similar to start off with on Saturday. Most of the race was dominated by Chandler Smith, with a lot of hard racing side by side the whole time. And Chandler Smith looked like he had it in the bags, and around 20 to go, he was smooth sailing. And all of a sudden, some things go down, and Austin Hill comes out of nowhere and ends up winning the race, and Chandler Smith falls back to third. Justin Allgaier gets another runner-up finish at Las Vegas. I bet he's probably tired of hearing that. Austin Hill, with the that whole Childress setup they have in Xfinity, they're starting to roll. They're having a big season already brewing, with 2 wins, 1 at Daytona, 1 here. So not too shabby, 2 out of 3 wins. Let's get into the Cup Series to talk about that. We'll dive into a bunch with that. This was another dominant performance all around by Chevrolet, and specifically Hendrick Motorsports. Obviously, they finished 1, 2, 3. Byron, he deserved to win. He had the fastest car all day. Larson had it in the bags, and of course, caution comes out within 5 to go, sends it to overtime. Byron's crew just ever so slightly faster than Larson's crew, and that's what got him ahead on pit road. Was able to get Byron on the front row in the restart. Larson didn't have that great of a restart. I'm not sure if it was because he was caught behind a little bit of Truex's car, or what it was. It just didn't fire off as fast as he needed to, because he needed to make a move quick in order to make it even possible to compete for that win against Byron. Hats off to Byron, that whole crew. They definitely earned that win. And 1, 2, 3, all Hendrick Motorsports, and a majority of the top 10 was Chevys. There were some Toyota sprinkled in, I think a Ford or two. Chevy's 3 for 3 this year. and it goes to show how much development they've put into the off season and preparing for this year. Um, they had a bad taste in their mouth, especially Chevy against Ford. When a Ford wins a championship, Chevy's going to try to do all they can. And vice versa happens, but Chevy's trying to flex their muscles really this year. Um, Fords just haven't really been that fast. They've been all right. They haven't quite figured out just as like the Chevys have this season. So it'll be interesting to see. It's early on; it's only 3 races, so it's just a small sample size. But you could tell which ones came out ready. And I think you'll see Toyota's, they're slowly getting into the picture. They're moving up. They're getting more consistent and more consistent. And they're getting faster and faster each week. So that's something to look at as the season progresses as well, for the Cup Series specifically. Let's move on to IndyCar. I completely forgot that IndyCar was kicking off their season opener this weekend down St. Pete and run the Grand Prix down there. It looked like Pato O'Ward was going to win this race. He was everything was pointing to him to just go smooth sailing to win the race. Racing incidents happen. He hits the wall, and the defending, reigning, undisputed Indy 500 champion from 2022, Marcus Ericsson, takes advantage of O'Ward's issues, and he wins the season opener. So just bringing that momentum from last season into this season, Ericsson's definitely looking to have a big year. And IndyCar doesn't have a lot of races, so you start off the year with a win, you're already looking good. You're already in great position to start getting consistent and putting stuff together for a championship. So hats off to Marcus Ericsson down there in St. Pete as they try to build that momentum on through the whole year. All right, dirt racing fans, we're going to do a recap of some dirt sprint car racing. We'll go a little bit of hometown favoritism here. And they kick off the PA Posse, starting off their year at Port Royal. Obviously, Lance DeWeese was on the most recent episode here. So everyone's looking forward to this race and seeing if Lance can start climbing up the win column ladder, and as he strives to get the all-time win list at Port Royal. It was looking good for him as he started fourth in the feature, but had some issues. The car would not fire off, and he couldn't even get the car going for the feature. So unfortunate circumstances for that. But it really was a good race, and hopefully this is an indication of what's to happen this year in everywhere in Pennsylvania, but specifically Port Royal. And coming this week, it's with the Outlaws coming into town. We'll get to that in a little bit, but Dylan Cisney ended up winning the race, but it was by no means, there was no domination in this race. It was a last lap pass. It was back and forth between he and Parker Price Miller. Back and forth. Slide jobs after slide jobs, legitimate slide jobs, not the ones NASCAR talks about. But these, it was anybody's race, and Cisney was able to run a little bit harder and make it stick on at 3 and 4, coming to the checker flag, and comes away with the win there. So big time race, a lot of fun, a lot of excitement, and yeah, the 410's up there, put on a show, and they're ready to bring on the Outlaws coming to town. And speaking of the Outlaws, we'll get into them. And they were down at Volusia once again. Um, they stayed at that racetrack after a couple weeks off for another spring showdown opener. This one was pretty much domination. After lap 10, Carson Macedo took the lead. He never looked back. There were some late restarts that happened. He didn't care. His car was just hooking up right, and he was the fastest car down there. He's had some newfound success at Volusia, and it's pretty impressive with that. So that was the first spring showdown race. And one thing that sticks out to me seeing the results here, you got David Gravel getting second, but third place, getting a podium finish, and it's really good to see him run well as Casey Kane. You could look up his story and everything, but he's been through quite a lot with injuries and how his career has had its roller coaster of everything. And getting a podium finish to start off the year, hopefully that leads some good things for him. There's a lot of hard work that got him to get back into the race car, and now to have the success, he wasn't able to find it in recent years like this. So hopefully he gets some consistency off of this, and of course the pick I had with Donnie Schatz, that I don't get any picks right apparently, so maybe I should just stop picking, or I don't know. We'll see. Donnie Schatz ended up 7th, but he did have a hard charger starting 21st, so he was hauling up there, and that's not surprising. Donnie Schatz is one of the best sprint car racers there's been, and so that was the first spring showdown race for the Outlaws down there, and they had a second race, the Dirt Car Nationals, and that was a $16,000 to win that race. And the second race down there at Volusia for the night, on the Sunday night, James McFadden takes that checker flag, and that team now has 100 World of Outlaw wins. So that's pretty cool to see. So a lot of sprint car action happening early, and the season's kicking off now. It's go time. Outlaws are coming up to Port in a little bit, so let's go over some outlook for this coming week with the Outlaws coming up there. Then we'll dive into a little bit of NASCAR look, and yes, I will make another NASCAR prediction. No more dirt predictions. And I'm hesitant to even do NASCAR predictions because all my guys seem to wreck when I pick them. I'm sorry if it happens for a third week in a row to whoever I pick. So, World of Outlaws makes the trip up to Port Royal, Pennsylvania, to take on their beloved rivals, the PA Posse. And the Posse's ready for them. Again, they put on a heck of a show up at Port. So a lot of this was kind of discussed with Lance on the last podcast. And with that new tire coming up there, it seems, and he said it seems like they're not going to have it until that race up there. So hopefully that is correct. And the Outlaws don't have a little bit of advantage if they were using it down Volusia. So hopefully it is the only thing starting in Port for those races. And because it'll be an equalizer than everybody. It'll be in the unknown. I'm not going to do a pick there because I'm not jinxing anybody. But I do pretty much guarantee it's going to be one heck of a show up there. So if you get a chance, tune in. The Outlaw shows are all on Dirt Vision, Friday and Saturday. the 10th and 11th of March, kicking off some big shows up at Port Royal. That's really all I have with the dirt racing. We're going to move into what's kicking off the new season for NHRA, as they are starting their Gator Nationals down in Florida as well, Gainesville. The four champions come trying to defend their title: Brittany Force, Erica Enders, Ron Capps, and Matt Smith. It's something I haven't really followed a whole lot, and I'm going to try to dive in a lot more because I do enjoy drag racing. And if you're listening or watching this, give drag racing a chance, because when cars go over 300 miles an hour, it's pretty damn cool. So watch them. I believe it's on Fox or FS1 or whatever they call that specific network now. A lot of fun, a lot of fast racing action happening. And if you don't like drag racing, you're thinking, oh, it's just a straight line. Yeah, but every track's different, just like in any other race. The conditions are completely different everywhere you go. You look at Florida, good chance going to be high humidity there. Sun's likely going to be beating down on the track, making it slicker. So you might have some issues with them hanging on to the car, keep it straight down that line to have the best times. So, and it's the first race too. You're gonna see a lot of teams be very aggressive starting off. But you're still going to see the big names do well, like the ones I just mentioned, the defending champions. I'd be very shocked if they get knocked out first round. So tune into that stuff coming this weekend as well. Let's get into NASCAR. I'm very sorry if I jinx people again. It happens. It's not my fault. At least I didn't gamble or put any money down with it or anything like that. So there's a new rules package for the Cup Series starting in Phoenix, and it's I'm reading this straight off of NASCAR stuff. It's a 2-inch spoiler and a removal of 3 diffuser strakes and engine panel strakes. And all this stuff ends up to a 30% reduction in downforce. They're hoping that it makes for better passing and better racing, more and just make it overall more competitive for everybody. So we'll see if it works. The races have been pretty good this year, so going to a mile track like Phoenix to kind of see what these changes are. It's the smallest track they've been to so far, not counting the Coliseum. But it'll be interesting. They did a test in January with these, and it'll be everybody's curious to see what it's going to do during a race and racing conditions. So look out for that at Phoenix this weekend. But let's do Xfinity first at Phoenix, and let's see who I can jinx on this time. Chevy's been fast in both series, and those are bigger tracks, so you have to take that in consideration. Kind of an unknown what the cars are going to be on a short track. Well, John Hunter did get a win this year, and I believe it's the Toyota too, so it's a little more even in the Xfinity Series. I actually think a Toyota might take take the weekend sweep here. There's a clue who I'm picking. Honestly, I think I'm going to go with John Hunter at the Xfinity level. I think the Toyotas are pretty quick, and there's a lot of that team's got momentum coming off of California. So I look for them to be competing for that win in Xfinity on Saturday. And for the Cup Series, again, mentioning those changes, and you've got to kind of see what teams would be able to adapt to those changes the best. I still think it's going to be a Toyota, and I think you saw this weekend, Toyotas were coming into the picture and showing a lot more speed and just a lot more consistency on their end. I think that's been the word of the podcast, is consistency. As much as it kind of irks me to say, and I mean, I don't know the guy personally, but just haven't been a fan. It's hard to pick against Harvick at Phoenix, but the Fords just really haven't shown me anything that I really want to pick a Ford, even though I did pick Joey Logano this past week and he wrecked. Go figure. So, with that being said, I think I'm going to look at Denny Hamlin winning in Phoenix this weekend. The one Phoenix race he can win. He's not going to. He's hasn't had any success there in the Final Four these past couple of years. So, but he showed some good speed today at Vegas, and I think you'll see him run up front at Phoenix. He is a good driver, whether you like him or not. So you can see him battling for the win. I think Toyota will have a good shot at ending the Chevy streak. I think they end Chevy streak before Ford does. Now that I said that, everything's probably going to be wrong. But that's just my insight seeing from the outside looking in. That's pretty much it. Yeah. Look at that. Got through all that racing. A lot of race action this week. Tuning in all the stuff. Try to expand your racing viewership and fan base and fandom. If you don't like dirt, check it out. If you don't like NASCAR, check it out. Don't like drag racing, go ahead, check it out. Try to get into it because it's a lot of fun on all these ends. So, a lot of racing action coming this week. Tune in this coming Friday. We're going to skip Wednesday this week, but this Friday we got a big episode, a big guest coming on the show. Again, we don't reveal it till that day, so tune in this Friday, another big guest, and I think that's all we got. See you guys.